Up, everybody, and welcome to ESO Daily. I am your host, Mr. Craven. All right, guys. So let me turn this down. This is a little loud in this thing. It's really loud, actually. All right, we're just going to turn down the master volume a little bit. Okay. So a lot of players have been told that the BIS Mundus is the warrior, right? And I'm on the PTS, and what better way? Now I can't hear anything. Jeez, Mateus, I swear to God. What better way to prove that these players are so full of shit than just coming on here and doing it? You know, showing you guys the target skeleton. I'll go through a couple different skills. But here's the thing. Regardless of the parse, okay? Regardless of what you're ever going to fucking parse, right? Your tooltip and your damage to a base effect per skill is never going to fucking change. So even if I never change out my rotation or my fucking skill, what it's going to hit for is fact. Right? It's a fucking fact. It's a fucking fact. Period. It's what it is. And I'm always telling people there's no fucking such thing as BIS because everything changes based on values. Right? And that's true. So we're going to go ahead and do this. So currently I have the Shadow Mundus started. And I have the other boons behind me. Now, I'm just going to go ahead. I'll throw a couple abilities. We'll gauge each one. Whatever. So, 3, 4, 5 on twin slices. Heavy attack. I'm just going through stuff. But right there, like 3, 7. 3, 4, 5. Right? Right. So, that's like the shadow. And that's pretty much just the way it is. 3, 4, 5. If I hit with the enchant and I get that proc, I'm going 3, 7, 0, 5. It's for my weapon enchantment. So, we'll let that drop off, and then we'll just go ahead and we'll go with the warrior next. All right. Okay, so they say this is the best one. All right. 3, 4, 4, 1. Now, what you guys are seeing, and I'll tell you this, you're seeing the crit go down. Why? Because the shadow bumps up the crit damage, but the base damage of everything goes up. That's why on a parser, when you're testing it, or target skeletons, these aren't fucking parsers, but when you're testing it, that's why you see the increase in the damage, because the base value makes up the difference for the loss. That's why I always told people the shadow's situational. And it still is. It depends. It's still good in trials, actually. So because of all the little damage spikes, you know, from the shadow will actually perform in trials very well in group play. So no doubt about it. But you'll lose on base damage. Okay? I've always said that. So now I'm going to go over to the lover. Okay? So let me hit this one more time here. 3, 4, 4, 1. Right? Wait for that to drop off. Why can't I grab this? Probably not set right. Nope. All right. See if I can grab it now. Ah! Why can't I grab this? Ugh. All right. There it is. Okay. So this is the lover. 3-5. Any questions? Okay, this isn't the warrior. This is the lover. Now, let me explain why you're seeing it and what in the fuck is going on. For the people who want to think there's a fucking BIS. Okay. Listen, guys. Penetrating values, right? So let me show this. When I go into my skills, right, the effect can deal up to 2006-8, right? This is what it can maximize, period, with this Mundus. If I switch this Mundus out, right, so let's say I go with the warrior, it's going to bump up. So when I go into it, you see from 2.6 to 2.8. That's an increase. But I lose DPS. Why? Because penetrating values, right? I can't exceed the difference. I cannot exceed 2.811 on base. A crit can do it, but that's a factor into the equation. That's factored into the equation from base damage, right? But I'm never going to hit 2.811 because my penetrating values is too low. See, 2.124. I'm losing 700 damage from not enough penetrating values. So, what do? Well, I have to take penetration. Well, that's going to scale down my max, what my max can potentially gain up to. So I'm going to go over here. It's a valued loss. So I'm going to take the lover. Now when I go back into the tooltip, right, we see 2.628, just like previous. When I hit this, 2.188, I'm still losing because of the penetration. Now, what I can do to offset that, now keep in mind there are sets that will apply, like if I have, excuse me, major fracture applied, that will make a difference. All of these things will change the output of the damage modifier. That's what will happen. But if I go into, let's say, my champion points, and let's say I go ahead and I take my piercing's at 52. So let's say I go ahead and drop this all the way down. And I put those other points into my penetration. Okay. Now, when I look at the tooltip, it's not going to change, right? It's not. It didn't change. 2.628, it didn't change. But guess what does change? The base value hit. So now it goes up to 2.387. 2.210. See? 2.210 now. So we gain because of the extra penetrating value. That's apparent. That's what's happening, right? So nothing's going to exceed it. So if I'm at max penetration, which is 18.2, 18,200, if I'm at max penetration, I'm not going to ever go over the 2.628 without an enchantment or some sort of effect. So if I put on critical surge and I move back, and now I look, I get the bump, right? From 2.6 to 2.8. Why? Because my weapon damage has increased, right? Makes sense, right? Plain and simple. There's nothing to think about there. That's what happens. So when I come in, now I'm dealing 3.828, right? This has nothing. You could. The rotations are always going to be the same, guys. If your rotation, what matters is how much each ability is hitting for. How much rotation can be perfected, right? It can be worked on, but you're not going to change what the tooltip reflects. It's just the fucking way it is. It's just that simple. So I was what? Let's do it again. Hold on. Let me get the buff. 3.828. 3.828. Once this drops off, I'll pick up the warrior again. Now see, 3.7. I'm dealing less. Like a lot of people wanted to ignore the lever and say, go with the warrior, go with the warrior. That's not the fucking case. All right? It's just not. Now let's say if I was running a penetration set of some sort. So we'll go under supplies. And there's overland sets. Right here. Okay. So let's say I go with a Spriggan set instead of the War Machine. So I'm going to take out the jewelry. Not that I would necessarily run this. It all depends. And let's say I need the weapons, so I'm going to need a... 1 second. Might need that. I doubt it. So we're going to take that. We're going to take the Spriggan's axe and Spriggan's mace. I want to replace everything as clear cut as possible. So I'm going to need to enchant that necklace. Everything else is regen. I'm not too worried about that. 2 throw, 2 throw, 2 throw. All right. Go to supplies. I just need 1 enchantment here. Okay. Okay, so now I have this, right? I have the Spriggans and not the War Machine. War Machine is a trial set. So same thing, man. Hit this up. Now we get another bump. Why? Penetrating value. $3,872. 239. So 239. I mean, that's the deal, guys. 239. But my max potential's 2878. I'm still about 500 under what the max potential is with the buff applied. Why? Because once again, penetrating values, right? So I had the warrior. That's with the warrior. So once again, buff up. 3872. 3872. We'll go back to the lover. Okay. Off. 3931. Okay? Come on, guys. Let's see what the base was hitting for. 2427. So when I go into the tooltip, I'm still 200 under. That means I still have room to grab more penetration. Right? Now, sets like I'll caution that is a deducted value for you and your party. And for stamina users, you need more penetration than light armor does. Why? Because of your passives, right? When you go into light armor, they get concentration, right? Which is 2,442, right? So that's the way that works. But then when I go into medium armor, we don't have anything that gives us a penetrating value. So stamina users are more dependent on penetrating values. So are light armor, but they have a 4,884 applied effect from light armor passive. Now, another thing that you guys also could take into consideration is maces will cause any of your attacks to resist 10% of the enemy's physical resistance. So when you have two maces, you're ignoring 20%. Now, same thing with the two-hander. Anytime you get maces, when I want to say it's 20. So it's the same applied effect for a two-handed mace or maces if you need more penetrating value. Right? So it all is going to be a factor of what you're needing. That's what I'm always telling players. You have to take a look at values. There is no BIS Mundus. It doesn't fucking exist. It depends what set you're wearing and what values you're missing and what you need accordingly. All right? So that's the deal, guys. Simple. It's that flipping simple. But I wanted to do this video, kind of get out. Now, like I said, I mean, if everything was working out, you have to make these adjustments. You have to take into consideration minor fracture, major fracture. When those are applied, you're looking at what, 5.2, almost another 2K, so almost an additional 7,000, right? So when I go into my champion points, I can, you know, I have 4,476 towards my penetration, right? Then on top of it, when I go into my lover, I'm looking at 3,008, right? So round that up. So that's almost 4. And then, what was this again? 4.5, you know, so 8.5. And then on top of it, my set bonus, which is 3,003, right? And then I have a mace. So, you know, there it is. So 4, 5, and 4. So 8, 5, almost 12. Almost 12, around 12, given the fact. So given that, and there's 18, that gives me 6K that I can gain in penetration without exceeding. So that's kind of perfect. Actually, I would scale back the penetration a little bit more. But that's kind of ideal and where you kind of want to be at. So guys, please, for God's sakes, man, when it comes to people playing the BIS card, now I took off a trial set. Now keep that in mind too. I was dealing less with my trial set than I was with without even having a trial set. Is that relative? Well, fuck yes, that's relative these days. That is so fucking relative these days. Right? It's completely fucking relative. You know, are you needing a trial set? Depends on the circumstance. Right? Trial sets are they're not fucking BIS. They can be beneficial for the party. They can be beneficial for you depending on what you need. They're not junk, but the thing about it is, what's the circumstance that you're going to play for? Is it the optimize that you can get? Once again, circumstantial. There's different ways to pull out optimal numbers with or without trial sets. Okay, so keep that in mind. So I just want to go ahead and do this. I know a lot of people are just, I'm going to have trolls coming in and out no matter what I do. But this is what I do. So I hope this helps people. I honestly, that's why I'm here. So if you have any questions or comments, please post below. I do want to thank everybody for watching. And once again and always, thank you and have a nice day.